Hi, welcome to Spiritual Connection. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So I'm an energy healer, I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I'm a transformation coach. I'm also the spiritual head of Transformation Center CT, which is located in Westport, Connecticut. So at the center, we do a variety of workshops and trainings. We have retreats. We also do individual sessions, healing sessions, or coaching. So just a variety of things that really we're open to everyone who's interested. So you can check out the website, Transformation Center CT. And we hope you will join us for satsang, which we do once a month now on the fourth Wednesday evening of each month from 7:30 to 8:30. It's just a really beautiful time to just spend time with yourself. And we do some meditation, we do some chanting. It's really a special evening. So I hope you will join us and just come find out what else there is to experience. So the Spiritual Connection show is all about connection. What a surprise. So it's about connecting with each other as well as connecting more fully with our own spiritual selves. And I have a guest on each week, and I also want you to learn from them about their spiritual journey, you know, what they're up to, what services they offer, and what they can teach you. So thank you for being here tonight. We're glad you're on the path with us. And my guest tonight is Sheila LaSella. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I'm happy to have you. So I'm going to read a little bit about you for our audience because they don't know you yet. Okay. So Sheila is a licensed massage therapist.
Yeah.
She's an energy healer and also an intuitive card reader. And she's been practicing this for about 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and her practice is called Still Point Healing Therapies. Yeah, and it's in Fairfield, Connecticut, right down the road. And so the energy modalities that she uses are Polarity Therapy and Rise. And we're going to learn all about these and more in a few minutes. Yeah. But first, you know, I'd really like to hear from you, like, what has your spiritual journey been thus far?
Okay.
You share that.
So my spiritual journey began when I was quite young. I think I really came into this life as a seeker, and always was looking for a deep spiritual connection, and knew that there was kind of something more than what I was being told or what was presented or what was on the surface. And one of the things I can remember is coming home from school when I was in grammar school, and I would go and sit under this tree in my yard and I would meditate. And I think what I was looking for was not only to just kind of relax after school and decompress, but I was looking for that connection to something bigger than myself, and I was getting it from nature. And I just needed a connection that was spiritual in nature and something more than myself, something bigger than myself. That's what I was looking for.
That's beautiful.
So I did that for many years, and then I had a really profound experience when I was about 15 years old. I read the book Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, which is a story about the life of the Buddha. And towards the end of the book, after Siddhartha has been through lots of trials and tribulations and has had a lot of hardships and learning, he is at this river. I think he's living in the woods, and he's at this river, and he looks into the river, and he feels himself dissolve. He feels the separateness of himself dissolve. And as I was reading the book, I somehow was able to connect to that, and I actually felt that oneness. And that really I think it just woke up a seed in me.
Yeah,
and
you were able to experience that for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was really powerful and really profound, and And I was 15, so I didn't really know what it was about, but I knew that that's how I wanted to feel in my life. I'm like, this is what I want.
This is real. This gave you a taste of it for yourself. Yeah.
I sort of knew even at 15 that all of the, the things, whether it be, when you're a teenage girl, the clothes or the boyfriend or the jewelry or whatever, it just didn't do it for me.
Right.
And I wanted something much deeper. And so I had that experience, and then that started me on the path of seeking. And then as I got into my late teens and early 20s, things got a bit challenging for me. Actually, my life got really, really dark and really difficult. I think I felt lost. I was not able to connect to the world and what you're supposed to do in the world.
I see.
The job and the relationships, etc. And I also, at the same time, had some pretty serious neurological and mood disorders that were going on that were not diagnosed, that I didn't know how to deal with.
So I had these very challenging.
It was, yeah. They weren't treated. So I was dealing with those two things and trying to fit into the work world. It wasn't happening. Relationships weren't happening. I was failing at a lot of things, basically, and that was kind of doing a number on my self-esteem. But as I was going through, I was still seeking and learning about different spiritual traditions, whether it was Native American or Christianity, some like Irish, because I'm Irish, like Irish Celtic traditions. And I was reading a lot, studying a lot on my own, and trying to connect to my heart and my spirit. So I had this like little bit of light that I kept me going, and I kept growing. And so that was my 20s, pretty challenging. And then I had a turning point when I was about 30. I started meditating, and I started going to a Tibetan Buddhist meditation center. And learning Buddhism and doing the meditation really helped to settle my mind and to bring me a lot of peace. And also just learning the teachings of the Buddha, which are incredibly beautiful. He talks more about Buddha nature, about your inherent goodness and your inherent wholeness, as opposed to I grew up with, you're inherently flawed. And you're inherently bad in original sin.
Right.
And so this was saying, no, you are actually inherently amazing and whole, and you're not flawed. So I connected really strongly to that. And then I actually ended up going to live at a Buddhist monastery that was part of the community called Gampo Abbey in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. And I lived there for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big step, big change
yes.
too, right?
Yeah.
Were you ready for change?
I don't know if I was ready. It kind of happened. It was a calling.
Okay.
It wasn't planned.
It
just came into my life. I saw a brochure of the Abbey, and I said, I have to go there. I have to go.
Spoke to you.
It did. Yeah, it was like this magnet pulling me to Nova Scotia, to the end of the earth, to nowhere. So I wanted to explore possibly becoming a nun. I really felt like I wanted to devote my life to spiritual practice and to share that knowledge with other people. So I went and I took monastic vows, and I lived as a nun for 2 years. And then I ended up leaving after 2 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it just didn't, what spurred you to change again, to leave?
I just felt like I was not ready to take a full ordination and become a lifetime monastic.
Okay.
They ask you after 2 years, are you ready to take a full ordination?
So
and it's different from what I was doing, and something was calling me back to go back to the world. So I ended up coming back to Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you living here in Connecticut before you went up there?
I was, yep.
Okay.
I grew up in Connecticut, so I came back here.
So this was a natural place to come back.
Yes. Yeah.
And then what happened?
So I came back here, and I came back in the spring of 2001, And then shortly after that, it was 9/11. So it was not an easy transition for me. I was already, when you are doing that much meditation and you're in such a remote place, it was coming back into the world, especially New England and near New York City.
Right.
I was overstimulated.
It's like a shock to your system.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Even going to the grocery store was hard for me. I would come back from the grocery store and have to take a nap.
Wow, I can imagine. Yeah.
So I came back and that happened, and I was kind of floundering for a little while, and then I decided to go back and back into publishing. I actually had gotten my bachelor's degree in English when I was in my 20s, and so I went back to editing, and I did that for a number of years.
So you kind of shifted gears a little bit.
Yes.
Sounds like.
Yes.
Yeah.
I tend to do that. I tend to shift a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how did that work out?
It was good. I love writing and editing, and I still do, but the corporate world was not a good fit for me. I got burned out, and it wasn't fulfilling and satisfying. I really wanted to help people, and I felt like I just wasn't helping people the way I wanted to.
Okay.
So I left that, and that was tough. There was a lot of stability and security there, but I said, you know what, I'm just going to take the leap. I'm going to go back to school, and I'm going to, retrain. So I went back for massage therapy and Polarity Therapy, and I think it was one of the best things I ever did, because I love what I do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it definitely comes across,
I love it.
that this is kind of what you're meant to be doing right now.
Yes.
With your life.
Yes, it is.
Helping other people.
Yeah.
And you had that early experience, early on when you were 15, that you really saw what was real, and saw that it is inside of us.
Yeah.
So you had that as like your guiding light in a way.
Yeah, very much. It definitely carried me through. Like I said, I think it just woke something up inside of me, woke up my heart, and woke up, the light. And I just kept following it because I had felt it so deeply, I knew, well, it can grow. And I wanted more, Yeah.
And is that what you help your clients access as well?
It is, yeah. It's definitely one of, sort of the main things that I try to help people with is energy healing really helps people to get in touch with their higher self, with their divine nature, which is that incredible light and incredible heart connection, incredible love inside themselves. And those aspects, they can be maybe a little obscured, but they're there. So I help people move through and strengthen the higher self.
Yeah, because we all have that, and I think that we really aren't taught that in our culture.
No.
And it almost takes something, my experience, it takes something to wake people up to even look for it, to try to find out what there is, like what's missing in my life, those kind of questions.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people feel an emptiness or maybe a lack of meaning in their life. And again, we're kind of conditioned to look outside, to look to material things, whether it's the car or the job or the vacation or the house or whatever, and those are wonderful things to have. They can be really supportive, but it seems that people still, when they get those, they still feel unsatisfied, and it's because they still haven't connected to their heart and their spirit, which is I think the eternal piece that is missing.
Yeah. And it is there. It's just a matter of, first of all, believing it.
Yes.
And then finding ways to access it, because everybody's different.
Yeah.
Some people do it through meditation, some through yoga, some through, energy healing. So they're, I would say that someone is really lucky to find you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's again, it's a joy for me and a calling, and it's amazing to see people transform as they keep doing the energy healing, and they come more and more in touch with their own Buddha nature, their own higher self, their joy, and their truth, their real truth, and their power, their inner power, and all the amazing things that they are.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see that transformation, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So the name of your company, Still Point Healing. What is the significance of that?
So the name of my business, it's actually kind of a funny story. So I went to school in Ipswich, Massachusetts. I was living in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and then after I graduated, I came back to Connecticut and decided that I wanted to open my own business. And I was thinking, what should I call it? I was searching for names and wanted something a little bit different. And I literally woke up in the middle of the night, one night, and one of my teachers who taught me energy healing, I remember her talking about the still point. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw her face and I said, that's what I'm going to name my business, Still Point. Yeah. And so
cool.
Still Point it's also a term in craniosacral therapy.
Okay.
And it is a really deep meditative place that the body moves into, and you can access it through energy healing or through meditation. And it is just it's a place where the nervous system moves into the healing mode.
Oh, wow.
And the body, the person, is able to actually receive a little bit more because they're not in the fight or flight mode, but they're in the parasympathetic nervous system in the healing mode.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I knew I liked the name. I just wasn't sure why. That's great. Well, I'm also curious if you can tell us a little bit more about the different modalities.
Okay.
So maybe if you want to start with the Polarity Therapy or the Rise, either one.
Yeah, so Polarity Therapy is an amazing modality. It is based on Ayurvedic medicine from India, and it was created by Dr. Randolph Stone. I think he died in the 80s, and he was from Austria. He was a chiropractor, a naturopath, and an osteopath. And he studied extensively in India and in the West, and he melded Western modalities and Ayurvedic medicine, and he came up with Polarity Therapy. And it's basically an energy-based body work, and it works with, so the polarity aspect of it is I work with the electromagnetic currents of the body, so the life force of the body in its positive, negative, and neutral aspects. So if you think of your high school biology and a cell, the makeup of a cell is positive, negative, neutral, sort of the basis of who we are. So I work to kind of keep the energies moving in the body and well distributed, and balanced.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would a session look like for people who haven't really seen an energy healing session?
So it is, so they would lie down on a massage table. It's done fully clothed, and I use a very light touch on the body on different points to help energy move in the body, to help the life force flow. So the life force is also our spiritual energy. In India, it's called prana. In, I think, Japan or China, it's called chi, like in Tai Chi. And so we have this amazing life force, this spiritual energy that moves through our body in different channels, different pathways and patterns. And sometimes as it's flowing, it gets stuck. Just like if you think of the plumbing in your house and the water moving through the pipes, and sometimes there's a big clog there. That can happen with the energy moving through your body. Sometimes it just gets stuck. And when that happens, the body becomes unbalanced. And so I'm working with touch to bring the body back into balance and get the life force flowing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long does a session usually take?
An hour, typically an hour. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. And so that it's similar to other forms of energy healing.
Yes.
Sounds like to me.
It is.
Like Reiki, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all pretty connected. I mean, you use the
is.
chakra system.
Yep. I work on the chakras, on the 7 chakras, and those are part of the the major part of the
Major,
energy
right.
system sitting on the spine, and they're really, really important to make sure those are functioning and repaired and just working at their optimal level.
Clear. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Great.
So those are definitely worked on.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Super. And then what about RISE, which I have not heard of? It's R-Y-S-E.
Yes, RISE, R-Y-S-E. So it stands for Realizing Your Sublime Energies. And it was created by a woman named Nancy Risley, and she is the owner of the school that I went to for Polarity Therapy.
Oh, okay.
And she actually channeled this healing modality in. So she channeled it in, and it is, so there's two components of it. I use one component of it in my sessions. It's a non-touch therapy. So what happens is at the beginning of the session, I work physically on the body with Polarity Therapy to get some balance and to get things moving. And then at the end of the session, for about the last 15 or 20 minutes, the client won't actually feel me touching them anymore. And I do RISE at that point. And RISE is a very, very deep clearing of the chakras and the aura, the inner male and the inner female. I remove energetic cords for people. I work on inner children if the inner child comes up to be healed. Sometimes past lives come in to be healed. So I clear all of those, and again, always aligning people to the highest aspects of themselves. So it's a really, RISE is a really profound, very, very deep clearing.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
So how do you determine which is the best modality for your specific client?
That happens during the intake. So when somebody comes in, we have a really nice conversation about what's been going on with them. You know, the first session, they'll fill out a health intake form so I can see, you know, medically if anything's going on, physically. And then we talk about, you know, what brought them in.
Yeah, what their goals are.
What's going on for them, you know, emotionally in their life, and where are they stuck? Where are they feeling stuck? Because I really love to help people get unstuck.
Yeah.
And it can be they're stuck in anything.
Right, that's true. You name it, we humans can get
Yes.
stuck here. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And you probably also use your intuition
Yeah.
to determine that as well.
Yep.
And what about the intuitive card readings?
Intuitive card readings,
Yeah,
those are
what's that
so
about?
much fun. I love doing
Yeah?
those. So I use a couple of different decks. I use a goddess oracle card deck, and I use an angel deck.
Okay.
And those are so much fun. They're great if you have a question or you need clarity on a specific area in your life, and you just want some answers and guidance. And again, it can be anything from your career to relationship to health, finances, life purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you just spend the time, like a whole session, on one particular question, or other things come up, or?
Yep, so there's often a central question, and you know, then a lot of other questions will come in, a lot of other elements will come in, and it's a nice dialogue between myself and whoever's receiving the reading. And I do what's called a medicine wheel reading, and it's a 12-month reading, and I also look at what's going on in nature. So I look at what's going on, you know, during the solstice and during the equinoxes, and whatever card comes up for, you know, a particular month and a particular, you know, solstice or equinox, and how the energies of what's happening in nature, how they're going to affect what's coming into the person's life for the year, and, and how they can use that energy to help them move forward.
Yeah, so that's really helpful.
Yeah, it's fun.
So things come up as you're doing it, and then you just, that does sound like fun.
Yeah, so the person will always have, you know, a lot of questions, and things will come up for them. And
Yeah, one thing leads to another, and
yes.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, that's great. So
Yeah.
you just weave all of this into your everyday business.
I do.
That sounds like, you know, you're just right in the right place at the right time.
I feel like I am. I feel
Yeah.
like I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's a great feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you also do any like workshops or do you train other people, or do you have any people you collaborate with or anything like that?
I was doing a little bit of teaching. I was teaching Rise for a little while. There's an educational component where people can also learn how to clear themselves. So they can learn how to clear their own chakras, how to remove energy cords, how to balance their inner male and their inner female, how to clear their aura and protect themselves.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and it's very empowering. So I have done that in the past, and
Yeah,
So.
just whatever comes up. So what do you feel, talking about the future, what do you feel like is on the horizon? Anything for you, or any?
What's on the horizon for me? Let's see. Well, I really love my business and love where I am, and want to grow that more, and just help people more.
Just help spread the word.
Yeah, help spread the word, and probably do more collaboration. I tend to be a little bit of an introvert, so I love working alone with my clients, but I do find that collaborating with other people brings a whole other dynamic, and it's just nice working with other people. So looking into that.
Yeah, I enjoy that as well, and I think, well, obviously I love connection, so that's part of who I am. But the group where I met you through the TLC group, and that's really a great, it's not really an organization, but it's a tribe, it's a family, I guess is what, and Beth Lees, who started that, I think she does an amazing job of bringing in new people, and if anybody's interested in that, it's a 203TLC.
203TLC.com.
That's their website.
Yeah.
How long have you been involved with them?
Just since the fall, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just a short time, and I love it. It's such good energy. I love going to the networking breakfasts and connecting with other people. I've connected with a few people there. I actually did a card reading at the Salt Cave in Darien.
Oh, yes.
A few months ago.
Nice.
And I'm doing some possible collaboration with Soul Synergy in Stamford. So it's a great place to meet people.
Yes. That's awesome.
And it's great energy.
Yeah. I mean, all the people we're all in it together.
Yes.
And it's great to help each other too. And and I've gotten a lot of my guests on the show are part of the TLC group.
Yeah.
And my husband and I went to the Salt Cave of Darien about a month ago, and Matthew Broad did the drumming circle there.
That must have been amazing.
And Donna Vella was there, and they did a little program together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend going to that.
Yes. Yeah. I bet the drumming was amazing there.
Yeah, it was, and that environment. It was super. So there's a lot going on. So I would say to our guests, check it out.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, and you don't have to have a specific practice. You could just come to any of the events, just because they're all open to the public and everything else.
Yeah, it's a fun group too. It's not serious.
Right.
Yeah,
It's fun.
Yeah, relaxed. We're relaxed
and
very
kind of
relaxed.
Yeah, we have fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to need to wrap up. So thank you so much, Sheila, for coming on the show. It was great to have you.
Great to be here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you to our audience for coming tonight. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn, Spiritual Connection, signing off, and hope to see you on the next episode. Blessings and good night. Thank you.
Yay.
Yay.